Greetings, fellow slinging agents in the wild, and welcome back to the show. Before we begin, let's handle this week's shout out. From good friend of the show, Henry Anderson, who remarks, "Hanging with the best dudes. Thank you. I hope you will publish the scenarios in the future. Your homebrew campaigns and scenarios are refreshing, but it would be great to see you take on one of the bigger campaigns. But that might take more agents. You guys would rock in The Fall of Delta Green and Iconoclasts." Henry, thank you. As most of you fellow slinging agents know, I've run a few published scenarios in the past, and we've enjoyed doing so. However, we found that running long scenarios, as we did with Convergence, tended to bog down the play, and the players oftentimes lost the tangibility to the first episode more than halfway through. That being said, our stipulations to something like that would be we'd have to put a 3 to 7 hour limit on running it and make sure we could cover it over the span of 1 to 2 sessions, possibly 3 on the outside. So Henry, if you could see my RPG bookshelves, you'd see that I have most of the Arc Dreams published scenarios to pull from. So if there's a shorter scenario than, say, Impossible Landscapes or Iconoclasts that you'd still be interested in hearing the boys go through, well, let me know. And that call goes out to all of you fellow slinging agents in the wild. Drop me an email or comment over on our YouTube channel and let me know. Otherwise, as it stands, our next season will revolve around another of our homebrew scenarios, Playthings. Okay, it's time, so say it with me. Let's warm up our dice and top off our glass as Roll the Hard 20 presents Episode 2 of our homebrewed scenario, Borrowed Souvenirs. Enjoy.
Man, like part of leave is getting drunk with your buddies and acting the fool and building, pyramids out of hundreds of cans.
Yeah, that's right. I remember those days.
Yeah.
Anyway, the days of our misspent youth.
Yeah, our livers and our bank accounts suffered every time you came in on shore leave.
Yep.
I would look forward to that so much. It was the only guiding light, the only bright point of my existence during that period of my life.
Man, like our entire lives would shut down. I felt like we were like a European country where they go on holiday.
It was like a tour.
Yeah.
We're on tour,
So how's everybody doing so far with this new AP that we're firing up?
I'm liking it.
Always takes a little bit to get back into the flow, The first episode's always like a little rusty for me.
You guys do an amazing job. Let me lead us in, and we'll get started with our second.
I'll allow it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Go ahead now.
I don't have time. Is it too late? Greetings, fellow slingers. Welcome back to Roll the Hard 20. It is I, your trusted handler, Brian, and with me, my heart slingers of yore.
Cheers and beers.
Episode 2 of our homebrew scenario, Borrowed Souvenirs. Last episode, we tied up where the two agents, Agent Kimura and Agent Adesso, had been prior to being called and what they were doing. Then they got the call to go to Portland, Maine to investigate the deaths of 5 individuals at the Cryptozoology Museum of Truth. You guys found yourself in the Himalayan experience, an exhibit that had yet to be opened and was going to be a private showing. You found that 5 people had died there. The bodies had been removed and sent to the medical examiner's office. On the way to the Himalayan experience, Adesso, you had asked a question about whether or not the items in the museum appeared to be legit. Do you think this museum is the real thing, Adesso?
I think it has some items that are real, but not everything is. Certain things are made for show, but there is some real, genuine articles here. That's what Polly's impression is. There's just enough real to cover the fake, so that someone who knows what they're looking at can go, no, man, that's legit. Whereas they look at the fake and go, well, the other stuff's legit, so maybe this is too? I don't know.
What did you see that you thought was real?
Well, I saw...
Or let me ask you this. What did you think was fake first?
Okay, I thought the unicorn horn was fake. Thought the chupacabra exhibit was fake because it was too much. The burned remains, they may have had some merit to them. Of the cryptids, that display of an actual essence of a cryptid, closer inspection may have revealed that was legit.
We know the photo was real, or at least
Yeah.
the
Who
photo
do you think was in the photo? Who was in the
was
photo?
enacting the realistic thing. What's that?
What photo are you talking about? Which photo?
The one that had, I forget her name, from Little Treasures in it when she was little.
Yeah.
What was her name?
Abigail Murphy.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry.
No.
But we saw that, and we had heard that story about her. I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, however long that was.
Yeah.
And we even brought it up again to her, I think, at some point, or at least in one of our after action reports. But seeing that is like, okay, well, there is at least some legitimacy. And unless we think it's all raspberry syrup, the murder is actually real that happened. So something happened here, and that it's in a cryptozoology museum. Could be coincidence, could be a random event, or it could be enemy action.
Yeah, but in Edesso's opinion, there's enough stuff there that's legitimate to at least make someone who's in the know pause and say, yeah, I'm getting some of my money's worth. Maybe not all, but enough.
Well, this leads into as well, if this is legit and this is paid by parishioners or patrons that are into this sort of thing. I'm going to go back to, if we may jump back in to the game, Mr. Handler.
Yeah, you're currently in the Himalayan experience right now. You see that Detective Faulkner is saying goodbye to Mr. Baldino, who is the museum curator. You noticed with a beautiful observation that Baldino had a ring on his right little finger. It was 3 wave symbols in a concentric circle leading into each other. You've seen that ring before. Okay. Detective Faulkner says goodbye to him, looks at the two of you and says, like I said, if there's anything you need, you let me know, agents, and I'll try to answer it the best I can. Scene's all yours. Come on, Sergeant, take me to my car. And him and the guarding police officer out front leaving the 3 of you alone. In the Himalayan
Polly
experience.
wants to take a moment to call Heisenberg.
Okay.
I reviewed my notes and says we were supposed to call him when we got there.
Okay. We'll go with yours in just a moment. Each you had something you wanted to do right at the ass end of last episode.
Yeah, like I had asked a question to Mr. Baldino, sort of being a little subtle about him being the owner of this place. And it seemed like he dodged the question a little bit. Maybe he didn't, so I will go back again. So, Mr. Baldino, once this sort of news gets out about what happened here, as the owner of this place, are you worried that there's going to be some sort of negative press on this? How is that going to affect the parishioners? If this is an exclusive place, does that seem like it's going to scare off potential investors here?
Parishioners.
Parishioners, yes.
Well, this is a minor setback. I'm actually only the curator. I'm not the owner of the museum.
Really? Wow.
No. It's owned by a private firm.
What, you mind me asking who that might be, or is that not allowed?
It's owned by Sunset Red.
Sunset Red. What? I don't believe I've heard of that company. What do they do?
Well, they invest in other entities out there. It's a privately traded company. Small board of executives. Anyways, no, this won't slow things down because as the detective was so prominent about pointing out all of our parishioners are invitation only.
Do you still plan on having the events go on? Was it tomorrow night?
Well, we'll be open probably in a few more hours. We'll just close this back door.
Sorry. Okay, well, do you mind if I take a look at that manifesto? There might be some information that helps us out. As my fellow agent said, we're investigating something that sort of happens similar in some other jurisdictions. We want to see if there's anything sort of that can tie these two things together. Most likely it's a one-off occurrence here, nothing to be worried about, but we just want to be sure.
Sure, if you don't mind me correcting your grammar, it's a manifest, not a manifesto.
Manifesto.
you-
That's
This is not an isolated occurrence. Remember, that was our hook to get in there. Certain things like this had
no, I
happened.
know. I was saying most likely this is just an isolated occurrence, and like I was. So for the listeners on that, I was trying to de-escalate the situation and put him at ease, like saying, "Do you mind if I see that?" Most likely nothing, but what,
Right.
that type of thing is what I was doing. If that didn't come off, how are you on that call with Heisenberg? I'm just-
I didn't want anybody to think that we'd lost
I get it.
cohesion. Remember, the FBI hook was this had happened someplace else, and therefore now it's multi-jurisdictional. Now we have authority. So
No, I
telling
usually
him
try
that-
to do like when you're like the smart cop, I'm the one that's like, most likely it's probably just a goof here. I wouldn't worry about it, but pretty pleased with sugar on top.
it was a
Let me see
gas
that.
leak. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it was.
Let
It
me
was
see
a
your
gas leak.
manifesto destinino.
So
Manifesto.
Baldino hands you
Hey!
this Baldino hands you this tri-folded sheet of paper. Lets you open it up, and you see there's lines and items. As you're going through studying these items and looking at the busted up stuff on the floor, kind of like, okay, this. Adesso, you make your call to Heisenberg.
Yep. So off the phone, Heisenberg.
Paulie.
We have arrived and we have made contact at the museum. We've got, due to good fortune and good timing, we were accelerated, so I'm a little late in calling you. We've already inspected the crime scene. 5 dead, appear to be torn apart by something. A large creature is what I meant, very strong, according to the damage and the wounds. It's very
Have you
something
seen
strange
the
about it.
bodies?
No, we haven't seen the bodies, but what goes through my mind is to tell you about this particular museum. A couple of pieces of information. First off, it's run by Sunset Red, which I'm sure you remember. And the name of the museum is the Cryptology Museum of Truth.
Cryptozoology Museum of Truth.
Okay. Very unique place. Invitation only, owned by a company called Sunset Red. I know you recognize that. This place has some legitimacy. It has some issues. And the 5 murders were of the people who were unloading the exhibit from wherever it came from. We're going to get copies of the manifest. We'll inspect the bodies to find out.
What is the manifest supposed to tell you? What does it
Well, the
contain?
manifest will tell us where it came from. And I want to know what was supposed to be in it, because obviously something made its way into the cargo that may not have been on the manifest.
Okay. So what's your next play?
Our next play is to go to the medical examiner's office to take a look at the bodies, and then probably interview the shipping company. Something was in those containers that shouldn't have been there. Something outside of the manifest. So now I want to know who packed it and how it got to where it was, where it came from, that kind of thing.
So as each is looking at the manifest, I want to take some pictures of the crime scene, but also make sure that manifest is held up to where I can take a picture of that as well. And then what I will do is I will text Adesso Baldino's pinky finger, wind symbol ring. Ask Heisenberg about it. He will know, and I'll send that.
It goes from your phone each straight to Adesso's. Each, as you're looking through the manifest, it lists all the items that this Kirk Holloway brought back from his expedition in the Himalaya region of Nepal. As you begin going down the list and looking at all the items broken and strewn about, you're mentally piecing together things for a collective inventory. You see the broken masks, the robes, damaged camping gear, torn tents. Camera, is back at the medical examiner's office. You see shaman gear. But there's only one thing that seems to be missing as you're looking around, and it's simply labeled as the Dorje. Dorje.
Okay. Is that like one word, 2 words?
The Dorje. 2
Oh,
words.
so Dorje is like one word.
Yes.
Maybe it's Doria. Okay. I will make sure that I inquire about that. I don't want whichever who we jump into next, because if it's still me, I'm gonna make sure Adesso got my text. I'll look over at him, and then I'll go talk to Mr. Baldino about the missing door J.
As you walk towards Mr. Baldino, Adesso, the text comes across. You look at it briefly. What do you want to do?
Heisenberg, there is one other issue. This director, Baldino, he wears a ring identical to yours.
Okay.
Is there anything you can give us on that? Any information, not on the ring, but maybe he's part of the same association?
I haven't vetted him out yet. It's possible he has the same ring, but you agents should know that I have yet to know who placed the call to the agency and had us sent out there.
Okay, so what we'll do...
What's the name of the medical examiner?
The name of the medical examiner is Judy Matthews.
Judy Matthews. Okay, so all individuals that were part of this Himalaya thing, they're all dead.
Well, not the ones who shipped it, but the people who opened it when it got to its final destination.
So all the members of this Himalayan expedition, they're dead, all 5 of them?
We don't know about the expedition. We know that there are 5 workers that were tasked to set this up, and they're dead. And there are 2 other people that were in charge of getting the items to this location. They're missing, and I'm going to presume them to be dead. But the thing is, if they are, that would also suggest to us that this is not some wild creature just on the know. It would suggest somebody with a little more intelligence.
All right, Adesso. What are the name of the 2 individuals that you said you're missing or looking for?
Kirk Holloway and a guy named Wilkes. Those are the people who are in charge of this particular exhibit at this museum.
All right, I'll try to run down this Holloway and Wilkes individuals. Contact me if you have anything else.
Will do.
Out.
Oh, wait. Each, did you want to talk to him?
No, I wanted to talk to you. That was the ring thing.
Got it.
You walk up to Baldino each. He looks at you as you're coming towards him and kind of stands up a little straighter, adjusting his cuffs, kind of fixing his lapels, looking at his watch.
Yeah, it's a nice ring you have there.
Thank you. Not many like it, I'd imagine.
No, I've seen a few. A friend of mine has one very similar, but it also reminds me of I don't know if you know, but I'm Asian, half Asian, and it seems very similar to the symbol for wind, the Japanese wind symbol.
Oh yes, I just had
Kami.
I had some.
Kazi. Sorry.
I just had an artisan make it for me in the village not far from here. I just said, do something creative and bring me something back. And this is what he brought back to me.
Very, very fine detail and for something just so random.
Well, they're very meticulous with their metallurgy that they do, and I trust them.
What's the name of this place in this village that made this for you?
They call it the Old World Metallurgist.
Yeah, that's fantastic. A skilled artist, too. Do you happen to have his name?
Yes, his name was Franco.
Franco.
Lenses.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, what was that?
Franco Lensist.
Lenses.
Lensist. Spelled exactly how it's pronounced.
Okay. Well, I'll be sure to look him up when I wish something random to be made. Now, I did have one other question, sorry, relating to this case here. It says on the manifest, as it is, there's a dorja that is, I don't see, what is missing? What is a dorje?
Oh yes, the dorje, it's a scepter of sorts. And with this, he holds his hands apart about 20 inches, given a rough summarization of its size. Drunken base camp talk roughly translates it as bringer of storms.
And what
You
what
say
is
it's
this, from
missing.
royalty or?
Well, it's believed to have, at least Holloway believed this, that it has had mythological properties, capable of summoning all sorts of things, depending on the Sherpa that imbued it with its essence.
Maybe
How
they
big was it again?
It was about
20
20
inches?
inches.
Would we call that a staff, or would we call that a rod, really? Yeah.
It's a
the
scepter of
rod.
sorts. I just said that.
Scepter. Yeah, okay.
Well, maybe they were fooling around with this Dorje scepter bringer of storms and brought something out. If at least that's probably what Holloway would believe.
It's possible if anybody could find Holloway or his assistant, Wilkes.
Do you have a first name for Wilkes?
I do. His name's Abner Wilkes.
Abner.
Well, if that'll be all, agents, I'd like to lock the door, unless you need to stay in here and do any more investigating.
I believe we have taken pictures of the crime scenes, and I think now that most likely we'll have to go take a look at the victims at the medical examiners. Is there anything that we should maybe look out for, or anything that you think might have done this? What are your thoughts on this as we're coming into this fresh and new, and this zoo crypto sort of thing is new to us?
Yeah.
You know, I would, the fact that we can't find Holloway, or Wilkes for that matter, I'm not entirely uncertain that one of those two, or possibly both of them together, might not be responsible for this.
With the Dorje, with respect to it, do you know who found it?
Well, it was Holloway's team that brought it back from the Himalayas.
Anybody in particular?
I'm assuming Kirk Holloway himself. I'd received Holloway's last communique before returning, said that he had found it. Way of restoring his fortune. He had informed me that he'd be returning, that this trip had exhausted the last of his finances. However, he would put on exhibit a display worthy of our Cryptozoology Museum of Truth, and it would provide proof to investors in hopes of getting more funding. Perhaps he reevaluated what he had brought back to us, realized that it wasn't quite the prize that he had hoped it would be, and as a result, maybe he went crazy, annihilated his team.
How old was Mr. Holloway?
I think he was in his early 30s.
Even a man in the prime of his life, I think, would have a difficult time rending 4 other people, 5 other people, let alone one other person.
It's possible. I mean, you never know. The man was desperate. I know that he came from a affluent lifestyle. His father had left him quite a fortune that I know that he went through rather quickly, going on different expeditions here and there, always claiming to fasten on to the next important finding, on always coming up empty-handed.
Chasing butterflies. The last one turned deadly, it seemed.
Well, the youth and their money, they lack wisdom. His father never would have put up with that. His father would have had a good exhibit here at the museum.
You knew his father?
In passing,
What was his name?
his name was Harold Holloway. Ironically, he died at home, supposedly of a heart attack. Of course, the only 2 individuals that could support this claim were Kirk and Abner. They were both present at the time of the incident, and both corroborated each other's statements. So naturally, the Empire went to Kirk.
Mr. Baldino, this place seems very, fancy and all that. I mean, surely there's cameras that caught this event happening, or?
This is a private museum, and we specialize in our own private security. There are no cameras installed within the perimeters of this building.
What would be the reason for that? I'm sure a place like this would be worried about theft or burglary.
Well, the museum doesn't own everything in here. A lot of private
Even more so.
individuals own this, and they insure it themselves. And it's very proprietary inventory that they don't want anybody else viewing or having access to, which is why we have a specialized roster of individuals that come through the museum.
Well, I look very much forward to maybe one day being able to come in and see a display that you have here.
Well, I'm assuming that you've seen a few on the way in here. By the way, on your way out, I'll need you to sign a NDA.
Very well.
It just basically states that whatever you see here, or do here, remains here.
Very well.
He reaches in his pocket and he pulls out a key and he gestures with his other hand towards the door. Well, if we're done in here, I'd like to lock up the door.
Appreciate it. Do you have a card or maybe that we can have if we have any other questions?
Yes. He reaches into another pocket and he pulls out this fold that has all these gold embossed business cards on eggshell white.
Oh. Ooh, very cool.
Reminds me of Paul Aaron's. Yeah. That's from American Psycho. Tom.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. And, hopefully we won't have any other reason to bother you, but thank you very much. And thanks for your time.
He follows you outside the door, puts the key in the lock, and locks it. Makes sure that the crime scene tape is secured. And then he goes to the right down a dark corridor and touches a panel, and you see like a hidden door open. Probably an access panel for the employees that work there, so they're not doing everything through the exhibits and whatnot, and it closes behind him. Probably an office back there, leaving the two of you to work your way back through the museum. Now, Dessa, is there anything you said you wanted to do on your way back through as you make your way back?
No, it would be a cool but interesting diversion.
Okay.
But a diversion nonetheless.
Well, maybe we take some pictures too, just to pacify any curiosities we may have later on while we're on the toilet.
Okay. You make your way all the way back to the front. You see a young lady up there. She presents the NDAs for you. The scribble basically says the same thing he said. You guys make your way back out front of the museum. The two officers are still standing out there. Where would you like to go?
We want to go to the ME's office.
All right. You get back in your vehicle, plug in to the GPS, the medical examiner's office. You find it takes you along the 295, back across the Fall River, and you pass by the airport you recently just landed at. It takes you about 15 minutes to arrive at the Portland Farms RD, which is the Portland Professional Center. Held in a single-story building, the medical examiner's office is one of those places that never closes. As you enter the lobby, a directory indicates that Dr. Judy Matthews, ME, is in suite 113.
Okay. I say we head towards there.
Wait a minute, what do you think this Dorje is? You think that is the... Are you vibing with me that is the key to this? That someone must have used that to summon something that killed these guys, and in the process got themselves killed? I mean, the only other explanation would be that there were 6 people who were supposed to unload this container, and one of them summoned it. It doesn't seem to me that either Kirk or Abner were the guys who did it. It just doesn't sound right. Why go through all the expense and trouble to bring it all out here just to kill everyone who did? So I'm thinking another party, another person we haven't seen here that may be pulling the strings. What are your thoughts?
You ever see that old show, Creep Show?
Yeah.
The one with the thing under the stairs where they open the box and it's some Tasmanian devil or something. I'm thinking we have a situation maybe like that where they brought something back boxed up and it wasn't dead and came back and killed him, or with the Dorje. I believe that they've probably used this thing and knowingly or unknowingly summoned something, or it turned one of them into a Yeti or a bringer of storms, whatever this thing is. Not to sound to trivialize this, but this is something that we've most likely not dealt with before, but the situation is the same as everything else. Humans getting involved with something they know nothing about and bringing doom upon themselves and their fellows. So we must find out what killed them so we know what we're going to be facing. And then we need to somehow find whatever the creature is, or this missing Holloway and Abner Wilkes. And once we find them, we'll find either they did it or something they summoned did it. So that's my gut thinking on this, because we know this isn't a robbery. We know this isn't a burglary or a random mugging or anything. And knowing that Sunset Red is the owner of this cryptozoology museum of truth, we know that there's something more going on than just a artsy-fartsy, art show.
Sounds good. We're on the same page.
So yes.
Yeah.
Long way to say yes, I agree.
Well, we'll just talk to Dr. Matthews here just to see what kind of things. I have a feeling she's not going to be able to give us much.
No,
especially
be careful
since our
too.
theory. Yeah.
Doctors seem to kill themselves around us, so we're gonna.
Yeah, that does seem to be a reoccurring theme. Yeah, medical examiners don't have a very long shelf life in our area.
Well, they are NPCs.
Entering Suite 113, you see, sitting down next to one of 5 metal tables, each covered with a white cloth, is a woman in her mid-40s. Her gray hair is streaked with black strands and is pulled into a tight bun. And as you enter, she looks up and slowly closes a folder, the contents of which she appeared to be engrossed with. She lays the folder down on one of the tables and begins to stand, her full frame rising over 6 feet while wearing flats. She says, "Can I help you, gentlemen?"
Yes, I'm Agent Adesso, and this is Agent Kimura. We're from the FBI. We'd like to examine the bodies of the recent murders, or, well, at this particular time, the recent killings over from the exhibit at the Cryptozoology Museum of Truth.
We were working with Detective Faulkner. He was the one, I believe, that sent the victims here.
Oh yeah, I've known Detective Faulkner for a few years. He's a very thorough individual.
Yeah, So he was saying that he sent the victims here, and we were hoping that we would be able to maybe see the bodies of the victims. Maybe that will help us figure out sort of what happened. And if, by all means, if you have any information of what you think might have done this, that would really help us out.
Well, basically what we have here are the remains of 5 individuals.
And also, Adesso, I believe there was something about a camera that was sent here as well. Is that true? Have you had a chance to have anyone develop? Might it be what's on there, or?
Yes, it's been developed. But let's stick with the remains of these 5 individuals. And believe me, there are many remains. However, ironically, all their respective pieces are present and accounted for. Each man has been shredded, ripped, and torn and chewed upon, but all their body parts seem to match up. And with this, she gestures at the 5 tables that are displayed in front. You could see that they're draped with these cloths, but they're lumpy. They're not in the outline of a human being. They're just look like fritter pie underneath. My favorite.
I love sloppy joes.
And she says, so even though it looks like they'd been killed by an animal, none of the victims have been eaten. It's strange. I don't understand. Of course, there are instances when an animal may or may not eat its prey, such as if it's cornered or fighting just to flee. I believe hunger would most likely take a backseat to survival. Do you not agree?
That would make the most sense.
Especially you said they weren't eaten, right? And most animals that I know, even predators, are not wont to kill just for pleasure.
Well, don't get me wrong, Agent. I mean, portions of these bodies look like they were chewed up, like shredded. It's possible this could have been done by a mountain lion, maybe a bear or a tiger, perhaps more than one. At this, she pulls back one of the sheets, and you just see it looks like a macabre scenario of just sausaged body parts. Tongue off to the side next to the cranium, the jaw off to the side next to the cranium. Some of the fingers aren't on the hands. The legs are shredded at different intervals. The chest cavity has been ripped open. All the balloon animals displayed for anybody to see. But I do need you both to make a sanity check.
I just rolled a 10. I didn't even need to have you ask. When you were talking about sausages and, pork pies or whatever that was.
I failed it miserably with a 91.
You'll take 1 point of damage each.
Okay.
Ollie, you'll take 5.
Ooh, shit.
Rolled up the full 4 on that.
Ooh.
And she says, I could uncover each one of these, and you're going to see the same thing, agents.
Is there a way to, have you identified these men, or are they beyond identification? Because we may need to look into their backgrounds and who they are.
Well, they weren't naked when they were attacked. They did have their wallets on them, so
Okay.
I was able to put them together based on their height and their weight. So there is that.
Well, also, if you're able to identify, we want to make sure that we get the uncouthness of this, the right parts together, so the families may be able to take the correct people away.
Well, I don't want to be macabre about it, but knowing their height and weight, and their gender, obviously, and their ethnicity, I could kind of already determine what part came from which part based on how it was shredded apart from the main piece. I mean, everybody only has 2 legs and 2 feet and 2 arms. So just got to look at, if I got 6 inches of this arm and, the other body has a different size, I know it doesn't go there.
It's morbid puzzle.
It is a giant morbid puzzle. All 5 of them were.
What, in your experience, these rips and shreds and tears, do they appear to be from claw, from a blade, from machinery? What do you think did this?
Like I said, I would think some kind of an animal, maybe 2 of them at the same time, maybe bears, maybe mountain lions, something like that. What do you, agents, what is your speculation on what you believe did this? So I don't think that I think you're looking for something to corroborate something unless I miss my guess. Do you already have a suspect?
We don't have a suspect yet. Was there anything left over? Any claw, finger, anything? Claw marks, hair, fangs, anything like that left over in any of the wounds?
Ironically, there's nothing, and that really bothers me because I've dealt with predator attacks before on victims, and you usually see a tooth or a fingernail or at least some hair or even saliva. And it's as though with these victims that where they've been gouged or shredded or torn apart, even in the groove marks, there's nothing there. It's like somebody took something and grooved it out, but they used some kind of invisible something to do it. It doesn't make sense. I'm at a loss, agents. That's what I'm saying. If the 2 of you have any idea what you think might have done this, I would implore you to please fill me in.
Was there any DNA left in any of the wounds?
No, there's nothing. There's no saliva.
Jeez.
There's no blood. There's no remains in these.
Well, unfortunately, we're not at liberty to be able to discuss this being an open case. But you had mentioned maybe that you had the camera. Maybe have you checked? Maybe the camera will shed some illumination onto what happened here.
Well, that was what I was studying when the 2 of you entered.
Could we see what you were looking at as well?
Absolutely. She walks over to the table and grabs that folder, and as she's handing it to you, she says, I was puzzling over what to make of these. They came out of that camera that Detective Faulkner, sent over with the bodies. She hands it to you. Tell me what you do.
Yeah, we'll open it and so it does. So we'll lay it down so on the table, so on a table, so we can both look at it and look at our leisure and pick different ones up that we want.
You see inside are 11 photographs that have been blown up,
Lay them all out.
all recovered from the camera that was at the crime scene. However, although the photos do not contain anything from the museum, such as from the crime scene at the museum, they are interesting.
And this camera, what is this camera that was missing? Is it like an old-timey one? Is it just a new like Kodak? Like what?
It looks like a type of camera that's a very rugged camera, something that you would take on an expedition that you would expect to get knocked around and still be able to do its job.
Okay. One of the things I'm looking for at this camera as well is it just a camera that we can buy at REI that's for mountain hiking, or could this potentially be some sort of relic as well?
It's not a relic.
Because we've had found items that are, it's this thing, but it's actually some portal to a fucking dark world, like.
Yeah, the photos on the camera aren't the real prize.
Right, it's taking
the camera
pictures
itself.
of the invisible thing that killed everybody or whatever.
With your inquiry about the camera, she points at the camera on the counter and says, all the photographs came from this camera. It's a digital camera, but it's a very big, rugged camera. It's designed to take a lot of abuse. It's popular with a lot of adventure individuals, whether they want to go deep sea diving, whether they want to go into the mountains, whether they want to skydive with it. It's designed to be very reliable and take quite an abuse. The tragedy of this, though, is that for as much abuse as it was able to sustain, when it came to me in my possession, it was already damaged, and I could only pull 11 photos off of it. Each. When you looked at the manifest to make the determination of what was brought back during that Himalayan expedition,
I have pictures of it too.
You would notice that it says one camera damaged.
Right.
Meaning that
it was damaged from the expedition. It wasn't damaged in transit.
Good job. Good job, Odessa.
Okay.
You start looking through the photos. You see 3 are of unusual prints in the snow, with the boot of one of the expedition members beside it to give it scale. They look like a large animal had made the impressions, but would have been walking upright, as if on 2 legs. With the boot beside it, the foot impression would be a size 45. Another picture is of an entrance to a cave. Something about the jagged angles of the opening give it a foreboding look. 2 more pictures seem to be of the cave itself, although based off the diffusion of light, they would indicate that the photographer was no more than a few feet inside the entrance. Then there are 4 more photographs of crimson cave drawings, depicting a large bipedal beast tearing through several men, most of which have limbs missing. As you get to the final photograph, it's blurred and taken at an unusual angle. Either the photographer was trying to be edgy, or the final picture had been taken while either the camera or the photographer was in free fall. Wisps of dirty gray and white stripes fill the picture, with an onyx orb in the upper right corner, and 3 pitted, chipped triangles pointing downwards in the lower left corner. And she looks at the 2 of you and says, "You tell me, agents, what do you make of these pictures?" And I will see you guys in the next episode.
Polar bears, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's a sea otter.
Yeah.
It's a sea otter, yeah.
It's possible if anybody could find Holloway. or his assistant, Wilkes.
Do you have a first name for Wilkes?
I do. And I know the handler has it too. Hold on a second. I'm sure,
It'll help us when we're investigating.
I'm sure it will. Hold on a second. He's thumbing. Can't you hear him?
Did you hear him page through the notes? I sympathize.
Thank you for joining us once again on Roll the Hard 20 podcast. Remember, you can find us and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora Radio, iHeart Radio, Amazon Podcasts, and Audible. And if you like what you're listening to, be sure to leave us that 5-star rating and review. Don't forget about our YouTube channel at Roll the Hard 20. So if you're into watching and you want to help support the show, then head on over and hit that subscribe button. It really does help the show out. We can also be found in the wild on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so don't forget to look for us there and check us out. You can also contact the show directly at rollthehard20podcast@gmail.com or head on over to the website at rollthehard20podcast.com, where you can download the current show directly, pick and choose past shows from our archives, or view our galleries. We've got a lot of stuff posted over there, so check us out. And finally, join us on our Patreon at patreon.com/rollthehard20podcast, where you can become a hard slinger and pick up swag. So until next time, keep your dice warm and your glass topped off as you roll those hard 20s.